Welcome back here, my friends. I'm back. The Kuhner Man is back. Good morning, Boston. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, here on AM 680 WRKO and now on 93.7 HD2, 617-266-6868 if you want to be part of the show. A lot to talk about today. The Kuhner Man was out the last 2 days. It came down with something. I don't know, I just felt really run down on Saturday. Just really feeling run down. Grace wasn't feeling the best. I wasn't feeling the best. I don't know if it was something that was passing around in the at Casa Kuhner, at the Kuhner home, but I really just felt horrible. Oh, Brittany says oh, thanks. Yeah, well, I went out a little bit yesterday. I got some sun. Brittany says I'm looking good. I got color in my face. Yeah, I went out, got some sun yesterday. But just a really rough Saturday. And it was like, I don't know, it was like, so I just wasn't feeling well. I was feeling run down. And, you know, it's funny. Many in the audience, when I meet them at certain events, were telling me the last couple of weeks, Jeff, be careful. You're going to burn out, Jeff. Jeff, you're going to burn out. And I don't know if it was a burnout. I don't know if the audience was just more perceptive than I was. So I just wasn't feeling well on Saturday. And lo and behold, it was like an angel, like a gift from the heavens. I got this text from Cooksey out of the blue. He said, I'm in the woods. I'm thinking about you, Kuhner. And you know what? You haven't had a day off in a long time. I want you to take a couple days off Monday and Tuesday. I'm like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. And so ask me, I tell people all the time, what did I do the last couple days? I go, ask me. Like, okay, Jeff, what did you do? Slept. Slept Saturday, slept Sunday, began to feel a little better on Monday. By yesterday, the old Kuhner Man was back. The energy level was back. I was feeling good. So it's great to be back, my friends. We may have very important news that we're going to be breaking on this show later on. I can't confirm it 100% right now, but hopefully we'll be able to announce it in about, maybe 3 hours. So we've got good news, and it could be definitive news in about, 3 hours. Stuff that even when I'm ill, even when I'm in my sick bed, the Kuhner Man is always working behind the scenes. And so maybe we'll have good news for Justina Pelletier in terms of getting a rally together, but we'll confirm it hopefully in about 3 hours. A lot to talk about. Let me tell you what is the breaking story. There's no question about it. This is big. And it's another, I kid you not, for all of you out there that want to impeach the dear leader, for all of us out there that want to impeach the dear leader, I think this is number 18 or number 19 on the list. After a while, you just lose track. This is an absolutely incredible story. According to the Center for Immigration Studies, this report that came out late yesterday, it is now going everywhere. It now appears that in 2013 alone, the Obama regime, the president himself and his Department of Homeland Security, especially Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the ICE as it's known, released, check this out, over 36,000 convicted illegal immigrant criminals into the general population. These were convicted illegal immigrants, criminals. I don't mean they're illegal because they entered the United States. Of course, that's part of the reason why they're illegal. But their convictions were previously from, whether it be Mexico or Honduras or El Salvador or wherever they came from. These are people who were previously convicted of murder, of rape, of kidnapping, of sexual assault, of drug dealing, of illegal weapons possession, mostly gangbangers. Over 36,000 were released by the Obama regime last year alone. Murderers were released. Rapists were released. Child molesters were released. Kidnappers were released. Drug dealers were released. Not 3, not 6, not 300, not 600, not even 6,000. 36,000 over them. 36,011 if you want to be precise. Were released just last year alone. And the reason why they were released is because now the Obama regime, getting ready for amnesty, is paving the way to no longer detain even our most dangerous criminals. They keep saying all they're doing is focusing now on the most dangerous of the dangerous. Well, obviously they're not. Because if they were, you wouldn't be releasing murderers and rapists. Call me crazy. That to me is the worst of the worst. And so what's going on here is very obvious. Now they are slowly dismantling any enforcement of the border. They're allowing as many of them to be released into the general population as part of a mini amnesty. Because this administration is now getting ready, along with the Boehner Republicans, the Judas Republicans, to pass some kind of an amnesty bill either this year or next year. And so they don't really want to detain them. They don't want to hold them indefinitely. Because, you see, that wouldn't be tolerant. And that wouldn't be practicing compassion and diversity. And so to the shock and horror of many people on Capitol Hill, to the shock and horror of Americans all across the country, this regime has now released 36,000 convicted illegal immigrant criminals into the general population. Congressman Lamar Smith, Texas Republican, has rightly said this is the worst prison break in U.S. history. This is the mother of all jailbreaks. 36,000 of them have broken essentially out of prison. Except this time, it was sanctioned by the dear leader. It was sanctioned by Homeland Security. It was sanctioned by Eric Holder. It was sanctioned by ICE, by our own government officials. They're now walking into general population. So I mentioned this to Cooksey coming in. I said, Cooks, I just hope they didn't release a couple of these murderers and rapists in Lynn. Because this may not be a good morning for you. Or for your family. I hope they didn't release them into Chelsea. I hope they didn't release them into Salem. I hope they didn't release them into Lawrence. Now, here is what's been going on. Because of this, and this has been going on now for years, it wasn't as bad. 36,000 is a huge number. But now if you do some digging, under the Obama regime in 2009, several thousand were released. Again, violent, convicted, illegal immigrant criminals. 2010, 2011, 2012. Every year they've been releasing 2, 3, 4,000 of the most violent, dangerous, illegal immigrant convicted criminals into the general population. And so what's been happening? It has now led to a massive crime wave. Murders are up. Rapes are up. DUIs are up. Sexual assaults are up. It's all up. Violent crimes are up through the roof. And part of the reason is because our own government is complicit in releasing criminal, violent, illegal immigrants convicted. These are they're convicted. And I was mentioning this to Cooks. I said, Cooks, if they were convicted in Mexico, whose justice system is basically a joke, or in Honduras or El Salvador, which is basically a joke, basically you got to kill people several times before you get convicted once. I said, these are the worst of the worst. And we're releasing them? This is a war upon the American people. You see, there's going to be many more like Matthew Denise, where you get run over and killed because of a drunken illegal immigrant. There's going to be many more murders now. There's going to be many more rapes because of what the dear leader just did. And now you have members of Congress rightly saying, here's another clearly impeachable offense. The President of the United States, his job, along with Eric Holder, the top law enforcement officer in the country, is to uphold the laws of the land. That's the role of the President. That's the role of the executive branch. Instead, not only are they not upholding the laws, they are knowingly, deliberately, systematically, in a premeditated fashion, releasing hardened murderers, rapists, and kidnappers into the general population. This poses a clear and present danger to public safety. I can't tell you how many oaths this violates. I can't tell you how many laws this violates. You can't just take a convicted murderer and just throw him into the general population. Just throw him out into the public, into society. Every subsequent murder or rape or kidnapping or sexual assault will be on Barack Obama's head. Is this the price you want to pay for amnesty? Are you that desperate to win the midterm elections? To pander to what you think is the Latino base? You know, many of them go back into Latino communities. Many of the victims are in fact Latinos. Who do you think many of the murder victims are? Who do you think the gangbangers affect most? It's many people in the Hispanic Latino community. But are you that desperate to pander? That you're now willing to release murderers and rapists and child molesters into the general population? What man would do this to his own people? What man would do this to his own country, to his own nation? Let me give you some hard numbers, because this shows you the extent and how rampant the criminality is. So, as I said, sorry, it's 36,007. I said it was 11, my bad, 36,007. So, 36,007 criminal aliens, all of them convicted, previously convicted of crimes, according now to ICE's own admission, according to the ICE's own data. Of these 36,007 convicted criminal aliens, ICE now admits, according to their data, that more than 87,000 convictions are among them. So of these 36,000 criminal aliens, they had more than 87,000 convictions. That's not bad. That's a lot. 15,635 were for drunken driving. Ooh. Like the guy that ran over the Venezuelan that ran over Matthew Denise. You see? You release him, he gets into a car, he gets drunk, and he kills an American. And we call it progress in America. So, 15,635 were for drunken driving. 9,187 were for what ICE labeled dangerous drugs. I would assume that would be cocaine, crack, heroin, meth, that sort of thing. Believe me, it's not marijuana. 2,691 were for assault. Oh, that's very good. We need that. By the way, a lot of them domestic assault. For all of you out there interested in the war on women. A lot of women are going to get their heads beaten in because of these releases. They're going to come back and they're going to accost their girlfriends or their wives. That's very progressive, very enlightened. 1,724 for weapons offenses. Oh, that's good. The gangbangers, they have illegal guns, Uzis, Kalashnikovs. That's very good. Then they're going to come back, get them, and kill some more people. That's very good. Very progressive. And 303 were for flight escape. Basically, people who just keep escaping all the time. I don't know why you would release them, because they keep escaping and you're never going to find them again. But again, let that go. Among these, some of these were so bad that these are people who have committed multiple murders, multiple rapes, multiple kidnappings, and some of them, in fact, are child molesters who have molested children repeatedly. We've released, the government, the Obama regime, released these animals into the public, into our streets, into our cities. How is this not a scandal of the highest order? How is this not a public outrage? How is this not an impeachable offense? You want to see what amnesty looks like, my friends? This is it. This is a mini amnesty. Except the next time they do it, it won't be 36,000. It'll be millions. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let me ask all of you this. Do you feel less safe knowing that these illegal aliens have been released into the general population? Do you believe the Obama administration has failed in its duty? I want to hear from you, Boston. 617-266-6868. Should we have convicted rapists and murderers wandering our streets because our government released them? I want to hear from you. All of your calls next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. 617-266-6868. 625 here on the Great WRKO. Damning new report from the Center for Immigration Studies. It's now finally being picked up by newspapers across the United States and, of course, the Daily Mail in England. 36,007 criminals, illegal aliens who had previously been convicted of some of the most heinous crimes: murder, drug trafficking, kidnapping, sexual assault, molesting children. It goes right down the list. Over 36,000 were released back onto our streets by ICE, by President Obama, by the Obama regime, just in 2013 alone. There has now been a documented crime wave. Murders are up. Rapes are up. Kidnappings are up. My friends, our own government is deliberately releasing violent, hardened criminals into our communities and our streets just to make a political point so they can get amnesty down the road. You want to see what amnesty looks like? This is a mini amnesty. That's just a little taste of what's to come if they do, quote, comprehensive immigration reform. And so my question to you is this. Should we be allowing convicted illegal immigrant criminals back onto our streets, or should we be, as I would argue, deport them? You break our laws, you come in here, deport them, especially if you're a convicted criminal. Call me crazy. Jeff. According to Jeb Bush, these are 36,000 acts of love. This is an act of love. All of these, they came here out of an act of love. Jeff, come on now. We should all openly embrace them. 617-266-6868. Sly, you're up next. You're on WRKO. Welcome, Sly.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Sly.
You know, it just drives me nuts that half of this country, half of the people in this country, maybe, I don't know, maybe if it's more than half, I don't know, cannot see what is absolutely crystal clear. Every single thing that this man does, Barack Obama, or, you know, the liberal Democrats that surround him that are in power now, every single thing they do is absolutely devastating to us as a society. This guy's a wannabe dictator. He wants control. This guy wants power. This guy wants control. He does not like the United States, so he wants to have the power and have the control to sweep the Constitution under the rug and say, screw that Constitution. I'm going to do things my way. Now, when you release thousands and thousands of criminals into a society, you're going to end up with a society that's got a lot more crime, it's a lot more screwed up. Now, who benefits from a screwed up society?
Obama. The liberals. Because what are they going to say? Oh, you need more government. Oh, you need us to step in more. Oh, there's so much more chaos. You see, America is not working. So you need more government intervention. You need the state to intervene even more. You need more of the dear leader. That's what this is all about. And then what are they going to say? Our immigration system is broken. Look at all these criminals running around wild, shooting everybody, killing everybody. So we need, you guessed it, amnesty. 617-266-6868 is the number. Our government has released over 36,000 violent, convicted, illegal immigrant criminals onto our streets last year alone. Good idea? Bad idea? And do you think it's impeachable? I want to hear from you, Boston. 617-266-6868 is the number. 6:30 on the great WRKO. All of your calls next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. 617-266-6868 is the number. 6:37 here on the great WRKO. Latest bombshell study from the Center for Immigration Studies. ICE now admits that they have released over 36,000 convicted illegal criminal aliens onto our streets, many of them murderers, rapists, drug dealers, and kidnappers. There has now been an ongoing crime wave over the last couple of years, but not on this level that we've seen last year with this massive release. And my friends, the question is this: should our own government, the Obama regime, be releasing convicted, violent murderers and rapists into our communities and into our streets? If this is not a betrayal of his public trust, if this doesn't pose a clear and present danger to public safety, I don't know what is. 617-266-6868 is the number. To all of you pro-amnesty people out there, whether you be Wall Street Journal open borders conservatives or you liberal Democrats, this is a mini amnesty. Just a taste, a little taste of what massive amnesty would look like. Are we insane? To even contemplate amnesty? Are we insane? We're not going to have 36,000 on our streets. We're going to have millions of these convicted criminals on our streets. Is this what we need? Is this what we want? 617-266-6868 is the number. Francisco, you've been patiently holding. Thank you, sir, and welcome.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Francisco.
Hi, nice talking to you.
Hi, nice to have you on the show. What's on your mind, Francisco?
No, like, there's so many people more, since Obama has done this, there's people coming into the United States now by planes, and the number that you're talking about, it's going to multiply by, like you were saying, like by the millions, if not even more. They're coming into the country like flies right now since that release, and they're not stopping. They're constantly coming in and coming in. That's the word that I'm getting from people that are actually doing it. It's going to get more scarce because where's the law? And where's the respect to the Constitution of the United States? I'm Portuguese. I came over here legal through the proper channels. There's so many people waiting to come into this country through the proper channels with their pay money, as you have talked before in your show. Any government or anybody that rewards down statistics is a criminal. Any group, anybody that rewards down statistics is a criminal. And the Congress of this country right now, the president, nobody is obeying the laws of the United States. The Constitution isn't a law. It's a code that needs to be respected. Where's the respect? There's a bunch of criminals. And these people are coming into the country, they have insurance. Because I work for a living, I can't afford my freaking insurance. But these people, they can have insurance. They can have their children go to the schools. They can, whatever. And we're paying for it. You're paying for it. Why should the working people of this country be paying for down statistics for people that are not contributing to the greatest good, for the greatest number of dynamics? All it's going to happen, it's going to be like going down scale. It's crazy.
Francisco, very well said, and call again, sir. Very good call. Look, you nailed it. This is the third worldization of the United States. So you import all of these illegal aliens. You have a country now that no longer respects its own laws. A president now that keeps breaking the law. You have now immigration officials that are now openly releasing murderers and rapists into the general population. And all in a desperate attempt to get votes. Because if you import enough poverty and you import enough criminals, I'll tell you this, they're not voting Republican. That I guarantee you. They're going to vote for the dear leader. And that's the dirty little secret. And that's how you destroy a country, piece by piece. 617-266-6868 is the number. No, I'm sorry. I'm off script now. Jeb Bush says these are acts of love. I'm sorry. This is 36,000 acts of love. So remember, the next time you're held up by an illegal with a gun to your face, hey, Holmes, hand me Jefe, give me your money, Jefe, give me your money now, blow your head off. Give me your money now, blow your head off. That's an act of love. That's an act. Say he's loving me. That's how they show love in Honduras. That's their way of saying I love you. Ronnie, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Hey, good morning. Welcome back, Jeff.
Oh, great to be back, Ronnie.
You know, what frustrates me so much about this, Jeff, look, I know who Obama is. He was raised by communists his whole life, and he spent, 20 years of his life in a racist church. I know who he is. I know what he wants to do, and I know who the Democrats are. But what frustrates me is, do you honestly think that we're going to get a Republican presidential candidate in the primary or in 2016 that's going to get up there and say, I believe Mexico is a bad neighbor, I believe they've done nothing but harm to this country, and I believe that every federal, state, and local authority should have the authority to remove these invaders from our country? Do you think we're going to have a Republican candidate that's going to say that? Jeb Bush is as much for amnesty as Obama is. Rand Paul is as much for amnesty as Obama. And when you try to do some common sense ID laws to make sure that they're not voting, well, guess who just got converted as to voter ID as racist? Rand Paul. Where's the opposition party, Jeff? That's what's so upsetting to me. Look, I understand who they are and what they want, but why don't we have a strong opposing party that will stand up to this illegal immigration, let alone a host of a million other Democrat issues? But where's the opposition, Jeff, from the Republicans?
Look, Ronnie, you nailed it. What's going on is this. There is a multicultural ideology, which is almost becoming like a prevailing orthodoxy. And so somehow, if you want to defend the borders of this country, what any other country in the world does, or defend the rule of law, or defend the Constitution, suddenly you're the Klan. To me, this is absolutely incredible. And no, I'll tell you what's really going. In his heart of hearts, Jeb Bush knows the disaster of illegal immigration. My God, he lives in Florida. Florida's a living example of what illegal immigrants can, how they can destroy a society. Rand Paul knows exactly the dangers of illegal immigrants, but they want the vote. They want to pander. So, have you noticed now? Ever since Rand Paul had that nice meeting with Rupert Murdoch at the Kentucky Derby, suddenly now Rand Paul is becoming more open borders by the day because that's what Rupert Murdoch wants, the owner of Fox News. Whenever Jeb Bush now, if you noticed, Jeb Bush opens his mouth. He's at some education conference, I swear to you, in Hickville, Arizona. 8 people attending. Breaking news on Fox. Breaking news, Jeb Bush about to speak. Jeb Bush just opened his mouth. Jeb Bush just rubbed he scratched his nose. Jeb Bush says we need an education policy for all the children. Breaking news. It's so obvious. They're trying to control who the next presidential candidate for the Republicans are going to be. Roger Ailes and Rupert Murdoch want to pick one in a backroom deal and say we're going to float this guy and prop him up until he becomes the nominee. And they want somebody like the Wall Street Journal, because Rupert Murdoch owns the Wall Street Journal, which is what big business Republicans want. They want amnesty, and they want open borders, and they want unlimited immigration. That's what they want. And they're going to get their candidate until they get their candidate. 617-266-6868 is the number. Who do you want to go to next? Brittany. Bruce, you've been patiently holding. Thank you, Bruce, and welcome. You're on WRKO.
Welcome back, Connor.
It's good to be back, Bruce.
Yeah, your boy Mike did a really nice job. He got to really a lot of good issues, but it's really sad what we're hearing here. It's basically treason. He's selling out America. He has no problem with security for his family and himself because he's going to have Secret Service for the rest of his life, as well as Hillary and all these other people. Crime is going to roll more rampant than it is now. I don't want to predict this, but their big thing outside of being elected is so that things are in so much turmoil that the people are going to just, hey, what are we going to do next? Oh, we got to have bigger government, more government. What about the police officers that are out there in the street that are going to get shot down or run over or like you said, little kids are in danger now. Who's going to watch them? And who's going to hope, because it's Obamacare, that Obama's going to pay for all their health care right out of his pocket, because this is treason, dude.
Bruce, you're completely right. This, to me, it's treason. That's what Obama is doing, and this is the latest example. Where are the Republicans? Here, I hear a bonehead, John Boehner, hears about the report. He said this is outrageous. You have the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Bob Goodlatte, a Virginia Republican. He says, this is making our streets so much more dangerous. This is outrageous. So, it's outrageous, it's dangerous, it's unacceptable, but nobody does anything. Nobody ever stands up and says, we're going to impeach your skinny rear end. Nobody says that. They just stand there, lay down, and take it. Because why? Because if you really stand up to this president, just ask Ted Cruz. You're called a racist, a teabagger, an extremist, KKK. And God forbid you should be called a KKK by the New York Times and the Washington Post and the Boston Globe. There goes your puff profile piece. Edmund Burke once said, the great philosopher, for evil to triumph, good men must remain silent. Where are the good men? We're losing our country every day, bit by bit. These are our children. These are our streets. This is not a debate about a bit more immigration, a bit less immigration. These are 36,000 previously convicted criminals, rapists, and kidnappers, and drug dealers, released right onto our streets. You can't stand up against this? What good are you to me? Eric, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on the Kuhner Report on WRKO. Welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. And I'm not the right wing Eric. I'm I'm a different one. That other guy gives us a bad name. I don't agree with letting them out at all. I mean, maybe we should commit 36,000 acts of heartbreak and send them home. But we can't do that because that would be, God forbid we should uphold the laws of the land. You came in here illegally, we're sending you back. One other thing that I wanted to bring up that I happened to notice yesterday when I was online, I saw a story out of Texas. This convicted rapist and murderer has been given a stay of execution because they say, one, I guess it's the new PC for insane. He's intellectually unstable or disabled. No, he's intellectually disabled. So but it touches on something you said on your show at least a couple weeks ago about how they can't, because one of the reasons why he got his stay of execution was the botched execution in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and Eric, and your point being?
Well, it's something that you said that I feel that, that is right. I mean, how is this guy who's convicted rapist, murderer, going to get a stay of execution? He's convicted. He's supposed to have the death penalty, and they're going to give him a stay because... Yeah,
because of the botched execution. Well, look, the left doesn't want the death penalty. And the reason why, Eric, they don't want the death penalty is because they put the rights of criminals above victims. You see, basically, you have to understand the left's mindset. It's very different from ours. They've been indoctrinated in this. Their brains have been marinated in this. For them, America is the focus of evil. American capitalism is evil. The American family is evil. Christianity is evil. Our traditions are evil. Our past is evil. So these criminals are really ultimately victims. This is why the left is so sympathetic to them. They grew up poor, they didn't have a good childhood. For whatever reason, they're frustrated, alienated individuals. And you see, Eric, we have to show more compassion and tolerance and diversity. And they think that somehow that's the way. They believe, look, ultimately, it's the sign of the ultimate hubris and arrogance. They believe that somebody fundamentally evil can be rehabilitated. They can't. Now, I don't care if you're intellectually disabled. I don't care what it is. When you've raped and murdered somebody, as far as I'm concerned, you're gone. You've lost your right to life. 617-266-6868 is the number. 652 on the great WRKO. Brittany, let's take it to Rush Limbaugh. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. 657 here on the great WRKO. Let's go to Bob. You're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome, Bob.
Yeah, Jeff, nice to hear you back again.
Thank you, Bob.
Hey, one thing I haven't heard. All of these illegals are citizens of another country. So I was listening to Howie one afternoon, and it occurred to me for me to look up what the United States pays in foreign aid for all of these countries. It's billions and billions of dollars. So if these citizens who essentially invaded illegally our country, why not deduct for every illegal citizen of a particular country from foreign aid, make these countries take their citizens back, because they don't belong here. They're not our citizens. They haven't come in to become citizens, most of them. And this is particularly irritating to a son of an Italian immigrant. My father came here legally, all my grandparents. So this is particularly upsetting to me.
Bob, it should be. Millions of Italian immigrants. Look, my wife is of Italian descent. They came to Canada instead of America. But whether it be Canada, whether it be America, Argentina, Australia, everywhere they went, they arrived legally. There's no foreign aid going to Italy. Italy for generations was one of the poorest countries in Europe. They came, they contributed, they assimilated, they became great Americans. What was the first thing they did? They obeyed the law. Okay, you're not taking any more immigrants? We don't come. Oh, you're taking us? We come. No, the racket about foreign aid is we send billions to Mexico, we send billions to Latin America, the money gets stolen, the money gets siphoned off into Swiss bank accounts, and then what they're doing is they're just dumping their poor on us. So they failed governing their own societies. They say, hey, you know what? Send them El Norte. Let the dumb gringo take care of them. And what does the dumb gringo do? The dumb gringo takes care of them. 617-266-6868 is the number. Coming up next, Michael Sam. If you were disgusted by that kiss with his gay lover, should you be fined? Should you be disciplined? Should you lose your job? Many on the left are saying yes. We'll have that debate next.
News at the top and bottom, talk in between.
Every time I try to get out, they pull me back in.
This is AM 680 WRKO, Boston.
7:06 here on the great WRKO. 617-266-6868 is the number. You can also text us at 680-680. Welcome back to Hour 2 of the Kuhner Report. Well, while I was away the last couple days, recuperating from a virus, feeling a little bit run down, of course, the whole Michael Sam thing just erupted everywhere. By the way, we are going to have a very important announcement, 7:45, regarding Justina Pelletier and the rally. So you don't want, trust me, you don't want to touch that dial. 7:45, major announcement here on the Kuhner Report regarding a rally for Justina Pelletier. So it's about, 38 minutes away. So, Michael Sam. This to me is incredible. This is one of these stories I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. You want to talk about the culture of death in the age of insanity, the utter insanity that we now live in as a society and as a culture. This is it. I'm looking at ESPN. These people are lunatics. They have been looping that kiss between Michael Sam and his gay lover and his white gay lover over and over and over. And it's almost, I don't know if many of you are old enough, the Reagan assassination. Do you remember that when he was assassinated in the early part of his presidency? And it was on, they kept showing the assassination over on every network, over and over and over. And it's the same thing. They just keep endlessly looping it. It's almost as if, you've never seen two gay men kiss? Like, what is this, like, just something new for you? It's almost like what? Like they're Martians or something? It's so obvious what the agenda is. They want to ram the homosexual agenda down all of our throats, whether we want it or don't want it. This is all-out propaganda that is reminiscent of the Soviet Union. You manipulate the audience. You have an agenda. You repeat it ad nauseum. You celebrate something where there's nothing to celebrate. So, just as a very quick recap, Michael Sam is a college football player. He played for Missouri, and he was then the first openly gay college football player. Now, by his own admission, when he came out supposedly out of the closet, he admitted to everybody that his teammates at Missouri on his college team had already known that he was gay. Everybody in the locker room knew that he was gay. But that wasn't enough for Michael Sam. Michael Sam needed to tell the world, the media, everybody that he was gay. And he openly admitted, you can play the tapes, you can play the audio and the video, don't take my word for it. He said he never had a problem. He never had a problem with any of the coaches. He never had a problem with any of the players. He didn't have any problem with any of the fans. So I'm thinking, what's the problem? You're gay, everybody knew you were gay, and you had no problem. But no, he has to tell the whole world. And from that moment on, he was celebrated. He was feted. He was lionized. He's the second coming now of Martin Luther King. He's going to do to the homosexuals and lesbians of America what Martin Luther King did for blacks. He's going to free them from the chains of Jim Crow and segregation. And so, he goes into, now he's up for the draft. Now, according to every media report that I read, they had a combine, they had certain tryouts. He sucked. I mean, he sucked. I don't want to get lost in the weeds, but he did the 40-yard sprint in 4.92 seconds. By professional football standards, that's horrible. Add about another second and a half, I could run faster than Michael Sam. I mean, it was pathetic. Then apparently he had to do the repetition of the bench press, 225 pounds. For me, 225 is a lot. You play defensive line, it's peanuts. He could only do 17 repetitions. So, he's slow, he's not strong, he doesn't look like he's going to be a very good player. That's why he wasn't drafted in the first round, the second round, the third round. He eventually gets drafted in the 7th round. Okay, that's the bottom of the barrel. And I swear to you, I'm watching this from my sickbed. And I'm like, they didn't celebrate as much on VE Day. When we defeated the Nazis in Europe, the media was not celebrating as much. They didn't celebrate General Patton, or in Asia, they didn't celebrate General MacArthur the way or Eisenhower in Europe, the way they're celebrating this guy. You would think he single-handedly defeated Al-Qaeda. You would think he walked into Nigeria and slaughtered every single one of Boko Haram and freed those 220 Nigerian girls. Everybody, this is history making, this is a watershed, will never be the same again. He's changed professional football and sports forever. I want you to think about this, a 7th round draft pick gets a statement of congratulations from the President of the United States, the dear leader. Benghazi, when it comes to Benghazi, he's not interested in Benghazi. No one gets a statement from the dear leader when it comes to Benghazi, 4 dead Americans. But suddenly, if you're a gay football player coming out of the closet and you get drafted in the 7th round, all of a sudden, you get statements from everybody. Now, I'm going to make a couple of points. This has to be said. This needs to be said for the sake of truth, okay? Number one, all I keep hearing from these jock sniffers at ESPN, and I got to tell you, ESPN is getting worse by the day. I'm like this close from never watching them again. Talk about being politically correct. Talk about being so fashionable, so trendy, so obviously trendy, so nauseatingly self-righteous. Okay, but let that go. ESPN keeps going on. When is the day going to arrive when somebody being gay is just not going to matter anymore? And I'm looking at these people, and I'm like, the only ones that care that this guy is gay is you. It is the media and liberal political elites in this country that can't get over the fact that this guy is gay. To the rest of us, who cares? Honest to God, who cares? I don't, who you have sex with, how you have sex with, what kind of sex you do, what kind of sex you like. Buddy, that's your own business. What you do in the privacy of your own bedroom is no one else's business. What I care about as a football fan is how you perform on the field. And they keep going on. It's like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The only people that care are them. They're making a story, a non-story, a story. I've never seen such a non-story story in my entire life. He's gay, oh my God, when are we going to come to a time when we can accept people as gay? Who cares? Literally, who cares? The only one that keep playing up the fact that this guy's gay is ESPN, the dear leader. Okay, that's point number one. Point number two, the guy's going to fail as a football player. I'm telling you right now, you heard it here first, this guy is not going to do well as a football player. He's too slow. He's not strong enough. He can't make the jump from the college to the pros. He's now playing with the big boys. You were playing with boys, now you're playing with real adults. And the only reason why the St. Louis Rams picked him, the only reason, was because the coach, Jeff Fisher, wanted some job security. And I got to admit, from Fisher's point of view, it was very shrewd. Dishonest, but shrewd. There he is. I see him doing one media interview after another. We're mature enough in the locker room. We're mature enough in St. Louis. This is a historic decision, like when we drafted the first black player in 1946 or 1947, whatever the date was. This is on the same level. What this means for Jeff Fisher, the coach, is this. Basically, he can go 0-16 for 5 years, and no one's ever going to fire him. Because if anybody dares fire him, no matter how many losing seasons they have, homophobia. They fired me because of Michael Sam. So basically, he's given himself job security. Okay? Now, to the ultimate point. Notice the perversion and contradiction in our culture and society today. When Tim Tebow was drafted, when Tim Tebow played in Denver, when they brought Tim Tebow to New England, what did all the left-wing Boston sports writers and talking heads, what was their drumbeat over and over again? This is going to be a Christian circus. This is going to be a Christian carnival. This guy's going to be praying in the locker room. He's going to be praying on the sidelines. He's even going to be quoting the Bible. He's going to be crossing himself. Can you believe it? The Father, Son, the Holy Ghost. Oh my God. It's going to be so disruptive in the locker room. It's going to make people so uncomfortable in the locker room. We don't need his kind here. It's not good for morale. It's not good for the locker room. Get rid of Tim Tebow. So if you're a devout Christian, if you're very public about your faith, they don't want you in the NFL. Then you're a circus. Then you're a carnival. Then you're disruptive to the locker room. Then it's bad for team morale and team cohesion. But if you're an openly gay guy, come on down, baby. No problem. And if you don't like it, well, too bad. You see, if you're a Christian, leave. But if you're openly gay, hey, you don't like it, too bad. It has gotten so bad. They had that spectacle, which I thought was disgusting. That kiss. There were the cameras in front of ESPN cameras. Michael Sam kissing his white gay lover. And they keep looping that kiss over and over again. That even if you're a player, like the Miami Dolphins player, who just said, oh my God, horrible. He gets fined, he gets suspended. You mean you can't even express your disapproval anymore? You can't even have the First Amendment right to say you disapprove of two men smooching on camera? This is the level that we've now come to in this society? 617-266-6868 is the number. The gay Gestapo is out. My question to you is this. Is the media deliberately overblowing the Michael Sam draft? And are you somehow bigoted or wrong if you find two homosexual men kissing in front of a television camera? 617-266-6868 is the number. All of your calls. Next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 725 here on the Great WRKO. 617-266-6868 is the number. You can text us at 680-680. The text line is burning up. This is from 781. Jeff, I recall watching Muhammad Ali fights, and when Howard Cosell, by the way, I remember this distinctively, 781, and when Howard Cosell would go up to him at the end of the fight to an interview, he always had to wait for Ali to praise Allah, which he did on camera. He waited until he got on camera to publicly praise Allah. I didn't hear one peep of complaint about his wearing his religion on his chest back then. Well, of course, because that was Islam. But if you're Tim Tebow, and God forbid you say praise the Lord or praise Jesus and you cross yourself, well then that's disruptive. That's violates separation of church and state. That the whole team can't function then. Then, look, as the Boston sports writer said when he came to New England for a while, he's bringing the Christian circus to town. But if you're Michael Sam, kissing away with your white gay lover, then suddenly we have to see it. I think they've played it literally 500 times. 500 times over the last 2 days. Everywhere I go, they just keep... You think more than 500, Brittany? I mean, they just keep playing it over. It's on every station, and the objective is obvious. Is to desensitize us. Is to now make us accept this, to see two gay men in public smooching. Just going away at one another. That's the agenda. It's so obvious. And so this poor Miami Dolphins player, Don Jones, he's a safety, got fined and suspended for, what do you think he said? I can even say he tweeted it. Did he use the F word? Did he use an anti-homosexual slur? Niet. Did he say they should rot in hell or burn in hell? Niet. Did he insult their mothers? Niet. He said two things. OMG, oh my God, he's shocked, and horrible. This is just horrible. And for this, you get fined and suspended? So let me get this straight now. We have to completely embrace and accept the homosexual lifestyle? Even if it violates our fundamental religious beliefs? Even if it violates our fundamental sense of right and wrong, our moral sensibilities? Or else we're going to get fired, we're going to get fined, we're going to get suspended. Take those two guys on HGTV, the Home Improvement Show. They went to the Democratic National Convention, and this is what they said. We're evangelical Christians. We disagree with gay marriage, same-sex marriage. We believe marriage should be between a man and a woman. Oh, and by the way, we disapprove of abortion. And for that, you lose your show? So, now, I have to ask this to the liberals. Where's the tolerance? You say you're tolerant. Well, how about the tolerance of dissenting points of views? You say you're for diversity. How about the diversity of opinions? So, you mean to tell me now it is verboten in the United States of America? It is verboten now to even say that two men kissing on camera people find disgusting and horrible? We can't say that now for fear of losing our jobs or being suspended or being fined? The libs hate it when I remind them of their fascist roots. It drives them bananas. But I want all of you to think about this. What kind of societies have there been in the past where you have the thought police that goes around censoring what you can say and what you can't say? Saying what you're able to say and what you're not able to say. They're usually societies with little men with little mustaches. This is the gay Gestapo. And if you cross them, you're finished. This is liberal fascism through the back door. And either we live in a free country or we don't live in a free country. And I'm telling you, I'm with Don Jones. I'm not a big fan of gay men kissing in front of the camera. What you do in the privacy of your own bedroom is your business. But leave it there. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. 7:30 here on the Great WRKO. All of your calls next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. It's 7:37 here on the Great WRKO. 617-266-6868 is the number. Michael Sam. Should people get punished at work, like the Miami Dolphins player, for simply saying they were disgusted or disapproved of the kiss? And do you feel turned off when you see two gay men kissing in front of the camera going at it like rabbits? 617-266-6868 is the number. Russ, you're up first. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Jeff, yes, you are always hit the nail on the head. This is part of the conditioning, like the TV program Modern Family, which is gaining fuel in the country. The other thing I wanted to say was this. Obama pulled the Fidel Castro in the U.S. Remember in 1980, Fidel Castro emptied his jails. President Carter gave them asylum in the U.S. And the way I see this, Castro sucked in Carter, Obama sucked in his followers, and we all got screwed.
And that's, we're getting screwed. You're completely, Russ, you're completely right. Look, it's so obvious that ESPN and the liberal elite media are now becoming essentially a shill for the gay Gestapo. And so again, I keep pointing this out to liberals in this country, and they don't know what to combat me with. They don't know how to refute this. Why can I not disagree with same-sex marriage? Why do I have to lose my job or be fined or suspended if you're an NFL player because you don't like the sight of two gay men kissing? Now look, I'll be honest with you. If this was Brady and Giselle, we'd be making fun of them. I'm at Patriots Place. I mean, forget Brady and Giselle. I walk by Patriots Place. I can't tell you now. I mean, nobody can keep it anymore in the privacy of their bedroom. I see a man and a woman. They're licking away, slobbering all over each other. Honestly, it's disgusting. But, you see, if you say anything critical of the homosexual agenda, they want to destroy your career. They want to silence you. They want to intimidate you. And the reason is obvious. Because deep down, they're insecure. Deep down, homosexual activists question whether what they're doing is truly natural and normal. It's obvious. Why else the insecurity? I'm not insecure about my Christian faith. Cooksey makes fun of me all the time. Oh, that fantasy religion that you believe in, on and on. I'm not, shut him down. Ooh, fine him. Ooh, suspend him. I'm perfectly confident in what I believe in. So you're now telling me it is verboten in the United States to even criticize the homosexual agenda? My friends, enough is enough. It's the intolerance of tolerance. Either you accept the gay lifestyle, same-sex marriage, abortion, the whole bit, or we must drive you from the public square. It is the intolerance of tolerance. There is no tolerance, and there is no diversity. So here's this text, okay? This is the gay Gestapo. At its worst, at its absolute worst. This is from 781. WRKO. Wow. Your rants are... Okay, hold on. There's more text coming in here. Okay. Yeah. 781. WRKO. Wow, your rants are looking worse than ever. Yeah, trying to mind the wacko right wing doesn't work in this town. Look at your ratings. And by the way, someone who believes in a ghost in the sky needs a psychiatrist, not the other way around. Proudly Bunty from Hingham. Okay, whatever. First of all, the ratings are phenomenal. So you don't know what you're talking about. That's number one. Number two, the wacko right wing. The wacko right wing. Okay, so let me ask you this. Are most Russians wacko right-wingers? Are most Eastern Europeans wacko right-wingers? Are most, now we're getting into the third world now. Be careful, because you're going to be called a racist. Are most Latin Americans, Latinos, are they wacko right-wingers? Okay. How about Africans? All those blacks, over 1 billion of them, are they all wacko right-wingers? How about all the Asians? Are they wacko right-wingers? So, the Asians are crazy, the Latinos are crazy, the Africans are crazy, the Eastern Europeans are crazy, the Muslims who you so love coexist, over 1 billion of them. Are all the Arabs crazy? Are all the Muslims crazy? Look how insane their argument is. And then insult my religion. That I believe in a ghost in the sky, which by the way is what Cooksey tells me all the time, but let that go. He goes, he mocks me, he's just teasing me. My point is, do I say silence him? Do I say ban him? Do I say fine him? Do I say suspend him? Freedom of speech. So you can be Christophobic. You can hate my Christianity. You can persecute my Christianity. You can demand that Christians be driven from their shows. They can be driven from football teams, from basketball teams, should be driven from their jobs. But I can't even sit down and watch two men kissing and say, you know, buddy, keep it in the bedroom. Coming up next, dramatic news, my friends. Big announcement on the rally for Justina Pelletier. Don't touch that dial. 617-266-6868 is the number. 747 on the great WRKO. More with your calls next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. 751 here on the great WRKO. 617-266-6868. It's now official, my friends. Kuhner Country is going to be spearheading, organizing a rally. Free Justina Pelletier. I will be speaking Saturday, May 24th at the State House from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Let me repeat that. We have now officially going to now organize and lead a rally for Justina Pelletier. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday, May 24th. It's going to be at the State House, right at the steps of the state capitol, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. The reason why we've chosen May 24th is that it will be Justina Pelletier's 16th birthday. Her sweet 16. And the family, Lou and Linda Pelletier, have been desperately begging DCF and Health and Human Services Secretary John Polanowitz, Commissar Polanowitz, to allow Justina to go home for her 16th birthday. Of course, the thugs at DCF and HHS won't allow her to do that. So we are going to be holding her birthday as a day for a rally to celebrate Justina Pelletier and to demand that she be released from the custody of DCF and go to where she rightly belongs with her parents at home. I need all of you to join me on this, my friends. I believe we can exert tremendous public pressure. We can free Justina Pelletier. We can potentially save her life. But I need as many of you as possible to show up. It's going to be Saturday, May 24th at the State House from 2 to 4 p.m. I will be speaking. Cooks, have we confirmed? Is Lou Pelletier going to be speaking? Okay, the family will be there. So the family will be there. I will be there. We may have a few state representatives be there as well. We are going to be lobbying the media, the national media, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, the local media, 4, Channel 5, Channel 7, Channel 25, to cover this event and to put as much pressure as possible upon Mini-Me, Deval Patrick, upon HHS Secretary John Polanowitz, and upon DCF to do the right thing and let Justina go home. She's dying under the care of DCF. She is wasting away. And just recently, a couple days ago, another child died under the watch of DCF. They're dropping like flies. Children in this state are dropping like flies. And so what Mini-Me did, and what that thug, Commissar John Polanowitz, did, is that now they recently moved Justina to Connecticut to get her out of the state in some psychiatric facility in Thompson, Connecticut, because they think by getting her out of the state, you know the expression, out of sight, out of mind, they think we're going to back off. They think this is going to ameliorate or reduce the public pressure. It won't. She's still under the permanent custody of DCF, and we do not want another dead child, in this case a teenager, on our hands. Now, let me tell you a couple of other things that need to be said. I have it on very good information from several of my sources. Even when I'm sick, even when I'm in my sick bed, I'm always working the phones. John Polanowitz has been grilled by people up on Beacon Hill. And he has been asked repeatedly Is there something that we don't know? Is there some private information? Were the Pelletiers in any way psychologically, emotionally, or physically abusive towards Justina? Is he aware of any kind of abuse by the family? Niet. Nothing. Zero. Nada. Zilch. In other words, there's nothing going on behind the scenes that somehow we're not privy to. This is literally a case of because the parents disagree with the diagnosis of Boston Children's Hospital, they do not have the right to disagree with Boston Children's Hospital. Just because Tufts Medical Center said it was mitochondrial disease and the parents accepted that it was mitochondrial disease, that's not good enough for DCF. Because Harvard University is pulling all of the strings behind the scenes. And so to back Boston Children's, to back Harvard, to back DCF, that completely corrupt, inept agency, they have strung the Pelletiers along now for nearly 15 months. Their daughter has been kidnapped. Their daughter is dying. Their daughter is wasting away. They wouldn't even give her the ability or the opportunity to go receive communion. When it comes to flashbang, no problem when it comes to flashbang. If you're a terrorist that's killed 4 people and wounded and crippled nearly 260, then you get the Quran, you get your prayer mat, you can pray to Mecca 5 times a day. The imams just keep coming and going to visit Jokart Tsarnaev. You'll even have Marjorie Akbar Egan write puff columns about you. They even want to interview you. They put you on the cover of Rolling Stone. But if you're an innocent teenager who did nothing to nobody except be sick, and you happen to disagree with the arrogant thugs at Boston Children's Hospital Psychiatric Department, then no, not for you. For you, we torture you. For you, we rip you out of the arms of your parents. For you, you're made to suffer for 15 months. And for 15 months, just to show you what hypocrites they are, for 15 months, supervised once-a-week visits. Now that she's been moved to Connecticut, because the Pelletiers, they couldn't be trusted. The Pelletiers are abusive. That was child medical abuse. Now that they're losing this case, now as the spotlight glares over the thug Polanowitz, the commissar, and DCF, suddenly now, unsupervised visits. Suddenly now, Lou and Linda Pelletier can see their daughter day and night, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. All of a sudden now. So for 15 months, they were a threat to the child. That you had to have a police, a security guard or a police officer right there in the room. Now, all of a sudden, they can see her whenever they want. I know Polanowitz is kind. His was the family. The Polish, I know his kind. His family were the Poles that openly welcomed the Soviets and the Russians when they invaded Eastern Europe. That's the kind of guy Commissar Polanowitz is. Always sucking up to the powers that be. In this case, Mini-Me. And so Mini-Me now has made it personal. He wants the Pelletiers to suffer. He doesn't want Jeff Kuhner to be vindicated. He doesn't want us to be proven right. So he wants to drag this thing along however long it takes, even if it means Justina Pelletier may, God forbid, die in the end. My friends, we can win, but I need your help. I need you to come out, bring a friend, bring a family member, bring as many people as you can. We need to show up in big numbers. May 24th, 2 to 4 p.m. at the state capitol, right there at the seat of power. And let us tell the liberal, thuggish regime in this state, free Justina Pelletier. 617-266-6868 is the number. Coming up next, a new virus, a dangerous virus, MERS, has entered the United States. Is there a major health risk? We'll have that debate, that discussion. 8 o'clock here on WRKO. Let's take it to Angela in the newsroom.
News at the top and bottom. Talk in between.
And you and I are here to tell them that's enough.
This is AM 680 WRKO, Boston.